Have you ever noticed how some people can walk into a room, say one thing, and suddenly everyone's hanging on their every word? Meanwhile, others, no matter how hard they try, just get ignored, talked over, or dismissed. The kicker is that it's not about being the loudest, smartest, or most experienced. It's about how you speak. In this discussion, we'll explore ways to communicate so that people can't help but respect you. Some of these insights may resonate with you, while others might challenge you, but they will all change the way people perceive you. Let's start with a common issue: the habit of saying, "I'm sorry." This phrase can undermine your confidence and authority. When you apologize unnecessarily, you send a message that you don't take yourself seriously. For instance, if you walk into a room and say, "Sorry, I'm late," for being just a couple of minutes behind schedule, you frame yourself as the problem instead of acknowledging that life happens. Recognizing this pattern can be transformative. Instead of apologizing for existing or taking up space, consider rephrasing your statements. Instead of saying, "Sorry for bothering you," you could say, "Do you have a moment?" This shift not only conveys respect, but also asserts your presence confidently. The habit of over-apologizing often stems from a desire to be polite or to avoid conflict. However, it can have the opposite effect. Instead of appearing humble or courteous, excessive apologies can make you seem insecure or unsure of yourself. Consider this: when someone bumps into you on the street and you immediately blurt out, "Oh, sorry," what are you apologizing for? Being physically present. This kind of thinking reinforces a mindset where we feel guilty for simply existing in spaces where others are also present. Let me share a personal experience that highlights this issue. I was in a meeting once when someone interrupted me while I was speaking. My instinct was to say, "Oh, sorry, go ahead," which was completely unnecessary. Why should I apologize for being interrupted? That moment was my turning point. I realized I had been apologizing for things that required no apology at all. From that day on, I started catching myself every time I was about to say, "I'm sorry." I began asking myself whether I truly owed anyone an apology or if I was just trying to soften the moment. Spoiler alert, 90% of the time there was no reason to apologize. Apologizing when it's unnecessary isn't just a habit, it's a mindset. It's like you're apologizing for existing, for taking up space, for being human. If you keep doing it, guess what? People will start to believe you. They'll see you as someone who's always in the wrong, someone who doesn't value themselves enough to stand tall. So what do you say instead? Let's rewrite the script together. Instead of saying, "Sorry, I'm late," try, "Thank you for waiting." Instead of "Sorry for bothering you," go with, "Do you have a moment?" And instead of "Sorry, can I add something?" opt for, "I'd like to add something." Boom! Now you're confident and respectful without apologizing for your existence. The next time you're about to say, "I'm sorry," pause and ask yourself, do I actually need to apologize, or am I just trying to make myself smaller? Respect starts with how you respect yourself. Ditch those unnecessary apologies, and you'll be amazed at how people start to see and hear you differently. Next is the importance of setting boundaries. If you're not establishing boundaries in your life, you're not being selfless, you're being spineless. Think about how often you've said yes to something just to keep the peace, or allowed someone to overstep because you didn't want to seem difficult. Boundaries are essential for respect. They teach others how to engage with you respectfully. Without boundaries, you're essentially saying that your comfort is less important than someone else's demands. When you start setting boundaries, be prepared for some backlash. People may be upset because they're used to your flexibility. However, by holding firm to your limits, you're teaching others to value your time and energy. Let's cut through the fluff. If you're not setting boundaries, you're not being selfless, you're being spineless. Think about how many times you've said yes to something you didn't want to do just to keep the peace, or allowed someone else to overstep because you didn't want to seem difficult. Boundaries are not just nice-to-haves, they're requirements for respect. They're not about keeping people out, they're about teaching people how to engage with you respectfully. Think of them as the rules of your personal game. No boundaries mean no rules, and if there are no rules, people will play however they want. Let me make it simple. When you don't set boundaries, you're basically saying your comfort is more important than my sanity. Sound familiar? That's why you're stuck answering texts at 2 a.m. or working late, because someone forgot to finish their part of the project. Here's where it gets controversial. When you start setting boundaries, people are going to get mad because they've gotten used to you bending over backward for them. Trust me, I've been there too. One time I told a close friend I couldn't help them move because I had other plans. They hit me with the guilt trip. Wow, I thought you were someone I could count on. For a second, I almost caved, but then realized this isn't about me being a bad friend. It's about them not respecting my time. Guess what? They found someone else to help them move, and we're still friends. People will adjust, but only if you hold the line. I'll never forget the day I realized my lack of boundaries was costing me my peace. I had this co-worker who always dumped last-minute tasks on me. At first, I'd say sure, no problem, because I wanted to seem helpful, but then I noticed a pattern. Every time I bailed them out, they'd do it again. One night, as I was staying late to fix their mistakes, I had an epiphany. Why am I prioritizing their lack of organization over my own life? So the next time they tried it, I said, I can't help with that right now. You'll need to figure it out. Did they pout? Sure. Did they figure it out? Absolutely. And guess what? I went home on time for once. Here's the truth. Boundaries aren't about being mean. They're about showing people, and yourself, that your time, energy, and well-being matter. If you don't value your limits, no one else will. But here's the other side of it. Boundaries aren't just for people who respect you. They're also for those who don't. Setting boundaries helps filter out those who aren't willing to treat you with dignity. And that's not selfish. That's self-preservation. Here's a tip. Don't over-explain. No excuses, no apologies. And here's the key. Stick to it, because if you cave in once, you're teaching people that your boundaries are negotiable. Also, practice saying no to small things. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Start with something low stakes, like turning down an invitation you're not excited about. Once you see that the world doesn't end when saying no gets easier. Look, setting boundaries isn't easy. It's uncomfortable and it's going to ruffle some feathers. But living a life where everyone else's needs come before your own is a fast track to burnout and resentment. So start small. Define what you need. Communicate it clearly. And most importantly, stick to it, because the only people who get upset about your boundaries are those who benefit from having none, and honestly, good riddance. Now let's talk about mastering the art of pausing, because silence can create tension and make people pay attention. Many individuals rush through their points because they feel uncomfortable with silence, but a well-placed pause can enhance the impact of your words. It allows your audience to absorb what you've said and creates anticipation for what comes next. Pausing demonstrates confidence and control. It shows that you trust your words to speak for themselves. Silence isn't empty. It's where your power lives. We live in a culture where speed is everything. Fast talkers are seen as confident, quick thinkers. But here's the thing. Fast doesn't always mean effective. When you speak quickly without pauses, your words can feel like background noise, something people hear but don't really listen to. But a pause forces people to tune in. It creates anticipation. Imagine music. A song that's just non-stop beats with no breaks or changes is overwhelming, right? A pause in music creates rhythm, and a pause in speech does the same. It's not about saying less, it's about making every word count. I wasn't always a fan of pausing. In fact, I was terrible at it. Back in the day, I thought I needed to prove myself with an endless stream of words. Meetings, conversations, even dates. I was constantly filling air thinking silence would make me look unsure. But honestly, it didn't make me look smart or confident. It made me exhausting. One time, I was pitching an idea at work. I was so caught up in explaining every detail that didn't realize people had checked out halfway through. Afterwards, my manager pulled me aside and said, "You've got great ideas, but don't give people time process them." Ouch, right? That was my wake-up call. I realized doing all-work audience instead, trusting them catch on when started practicing. Pauses felt weird at first, like really weird. I'd say something, stop, to let land, and immediately jump in, explain myself. But over time, noticed something amazing. People started paying more attention. Instead, zoning out, they were leaning in. They weren't just hearing me, they were listening. Here's moment solidified it. I gave presentation intentionally, slowed down, added pauses after key points. Afterwards, someone came up, said, "That was so impactful. I felt like every word mattered." That's when knew on to something. It wasn't just about what said. It was about how said it. Here's deeper lesson. Pausing isn't just speaking, it's presence. It's knowing secure what saying, don't feel need, fill every moment noise. A pause says, I trust my words speak themselves. It teaches us patience. It forces us slow down, let things sink in. And let's be honest, in world always rushing, there's something powerful about someone willing, take their time. It shows they value their words, and yours. Now let me address critics, because probably thinking, if pause people think lost, unsure. Let me flip that. You look deliberate. It tells people, I'm thinking, I'm intentional, I'm not afraid, little silence. And if someone mistakes that hesitation, that's their problem, not yours. The art pausing isn't just speech, it's life. It's knowing when slow down, let breathe, and when let silence speak louder than words. So next time tempted, fill gaps, chatter, resist trust. Pause, lean into discomfort, because when master pauses don't just earn respect, you own room. And honestly, that kind power deserve. Now let's discuss using humor without turning into clown. Humor is like hot sauce, used right elevates everything, used wrong ruins whole dish. And nothing makes lose respect faster than crossing line from funny being clown. I know sounds harsh, but hey, someone has say it. So let's break down how use humor win respect, instead losing first address. Obvious humor, fantastic tool breaks, tension builds connections, even makes look smarter. Yeah, studies back that up. But here's controversial part. If careful humor can backfire hard when rely too much jokes, especially self-deprecating ones, or constantly playing fool, people start seeing as well. A fool. Trust me, nobody respects punchline, doesn't know when quit. I used big I always had joke ready, even moment didn't call for thought being charming, but reality undermining myself. I'll never forget one time meeting cracked joke workload, something like, "Oh, I'm just here, make spreadsheets look pretty." Everyone laughed, but afterward manager pulled aside, said, "You're too good. What do downplay yourself like that?" That hit me. I realized while humor getting attention wasn't always kind wanted, not saying need turn ultra serious robot humor incredible way, build rapport, lighten mood. But here key has serve purpose. Are using humor connect people, using deflect, distract, beg approval? For example, self-deprecating humor. Great moderation shows humility, relatability, but if constantly butt-own jokes might start believe yourself. There's fine line between laughing with giving permission, laugh at here, deeper message, humor, timing, intent, balance, used thoughtfully, sign intelligence, confidence, but becomes crutch, sign insecurity, and no because been there. There was time, life used humor, avoid difficult conversations, if gave critical feedback, cracked joke, deflect felt uncomfortable, serious discussion turned laugh fest. You know happened? People stopped taking seriously. I had learned respect doesn't come being funniest person room, comes knowing when serious, light-hearted, trick-finding, sweet spot humor should add conversation, take away, feel connected, distracted, most importantly, reflect confidence, insecurity. Well-timed joke show, sharp control, constant barrage jokes, make look trying hard, and let forget humor, risky sarcasm, either make look witty, jerk, depends how lands dark humor, same deal, no audience love, all things good. Read room, nothing cringeworthy. Joke bombs, because toned deaf core form communication like any other reflection who are using build, tear down mask insecurities, show confidence. Here, truth respect isn't about many laugh jokes. It's how humor makes feel next time about crack joke, ask intent using connect, hiding behind strike balance, purpose confidence, funny, unforgettable, hey fails, remember dad jokes, always crowd pleaser, unless terrible, rethink strategy drop gossip, let get controversial, gossip, no juicy little tidbit, Karen accounting thing friend, swore, wouldn't tell anyone we've all done right. But here brutal truth gossip doesn't make look interesting, makes untrustworthy if spilling tea guess what, respecting entertaining realize might next list, don't get wrong get appeal, gossip social currency feels good, moment part exclusive club flip side, every indulge telling around can't trusted, not just person talking about, but if people trust respect, period, learned hard way, let tell story burned, own love, gossip colleague mine call, Dave always showing late one day made offhand comment, someone else probably managed time, casual remark, nothing malicious got back, him fallout immediate. Dave confronted see hurt eyes said, if talk behind back else saying around. That moment hit hard, realized casual gossip damaged relationship. Dave made look untrustworthy eyes. Others moreover gossip come bite back willing talk. Others wonder what'll say them around creates atmosphere, suspicion, fear wants work. Someone might turn share, private struggles, mistakes. Others instead focus building, celebrate achievements, support. Challenges create image, integrity, reliability. In conclusion, way communicates significantly, influences others, perceive respect, eliminating unnecessary apologies, setting firm boundaries, mastering pauses, conversation, using humor, thoughtfully, avoiding gossip, transform interactions, command respect setting, embrace principles, observe, positively impact dynamics, conversations, relationships, couldn't manage his time. It was a casual remark, nothing malicious, but it got back to him. The fallout was immediate. Dave confronted me, and I could see the hurt in his eyes. He said, if you can talk about me behind my back, what else are you saying when I'm not around? That moment hit me hard. I realized that my casual gossip had not only damaged my relationship with Dave, but also made me look untrustworthy in the eyes of others. Gossip creates a toxic environment. It erodes trust and respect among colleagues and friends. When you engage in gossip, you're essentially saying that you don't value the person you're talking about, and by extension, you don't value yourself either. People will start to see you as someone who thrives on drama rather than someone who fosters positive relationships. Moreover, gossip can come back to bite you. If you're willing to talk about others, people will wonder what you'll say about them when they're not around. This creates an atmosphere of suspicion and fear. No one wants to work with someone who might turn around and share their private struggles or mistakes with others. Instead of gossiping, focus on building people up. Celebrate their achievements and support them in their challenges. When you create a culture of respect and positivity, people will naturally gravitate toward you. They will see you as a trustworthy ally rather than someone who spreads negativity. In conclusion, the way you communicate significantly influences how others perceive and respect you. By eliminating unnecessary apologies, setting firm boundaries, mastering pauses in conversation, using humor thoughtfully, and avoiding gossip, you can transform your interactions and command respect in any setting. Embrace these principles and observe how they positively impact the dynamics of your conversations and relationships. As we wrap up this discussion, remember that respect is not something that is given. It is earned through your actions and the way you choose to communicate with others. Each of these strategies, ditching unnecessary apologies, setting clear boundaries, mastering the art of pausing, using humor wisely, and avoiding gossip, are tools that empower you to present yourself authentically while fostering an environment of mutual respect. Take a moment to reflect on your communication style. Are there areas where you can improve? Perhaps it's time to practice saying no more often, or to embrace the power of silence in your conversations. Whatever it may be, know that change takes time and effort, but the rewards are worth it. So go ahead, start implementing these strategies today. You'll find that as you change the way you communicate, the way people respond to you will change too. You'll command attention when you speak. People will listen more intently. They'll respect your presence because you've taken charge of how you present yourself. Thank you for joining me today in this exploration of effective communication strategies. I hope these insights inspire you to elevate your voice and embrace the respect you deserve. Remember, every word counts. Make them meaningful.